I was completely blindsided when I found out my wife was cheating on me. We had been married for 8 years, and I never saw it coming. We didn't have kids, which I thought made things simpler, but it turned out to be the opposite. My kids from a previous relationship ended up hating me when they found out what was going on, blaming me for everything. It all started when I noticed my wife, Emily, being unusually distant. She would come home late, claiming she had to work overtime or meet up with friends. But there was always a strange, almost guilty look in her eyes. I wanted to trust her, but my gut told me something was off, so I decided to dig a little deeper. One night I checked her phone while she was in the shower. There were dozens of texts from a guy named Mark. The messages were explicit, leaving no doubt about what was happening between them. My heart sank. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and lost. I knew I had to confront her, but I also wanted to get to the bottom of this mess. I needed to understand why this was happening. So I reached out to Mark's wife, Anna. When she picked up the phone, she was eerily calm, almost as if she had been expecting my call. "John, I've been waiting for you," she said, her voice steady, "and I'm going to help you." We met up the next day at a local coffee shop. Anna was composed and determined. We had been dealing with Mark's infidelity for a while and had her suspicions about Emily. We decided to come up with a revenge plan. It wasn't just about getting back at them, it was about reclaiming our lives and dignity. We started by gathering evidence. Anna had access to Mark's emails and financial records, while I kept tabs on Emily's movements. It turned out they were meeting at a cheap motel on the outskirts of town. It was difficult. Our plan was to expose them in the most humiliating way possible. Anna suggested we wait until their next rendezvous and catch them in the act. It was risky, but we were both at a point where we had nothing to lose. The day arrived. My nerves were on edge as I sat in my car parked a few blocks away from the motel. Anna was in her car nearby, both of us communicating through texts. When we saw Mark's car pull into the parking lot, followed by Emily's, my heart raced. This was it. We waited until they went inside, then Anna called the motel's front desk, pretending to be a concerned wife looking for her husband. She gave them Mark's description and room number. The receptionist, sensing the drama, was more than willing to help. With the spare key in hand, Anna and I approached the room. My hands were shaking, my mind racing with thoughts of what I would do when I saw them. Anna looked at me, her eyes filled with determination. "Are you ready?" she whispered. I nodded. "Let's do this." As Anna unlocked the door, my heart pounded in my chest. We burst into the room, and there they were, tangled in the sheets, completely oblivious to our presence. The look of shock and horror on their faces was priceless. "Caught you!" Anna said, her voice cold and triumphant. Emily scrambled to cover herself, her face pale. "John, it is not what it looks like. Save it!" I snapped. "I've seen enough." Anna pulled out her phone and started recording, capturing every moment of their pathetic attempts to explain themselves. It was a small victory, but it felt damn good. Emily sat there, tears streaming down her face, trying to cover herself with the motel as thin, stained sheets. Mark was in a similar state of disarray, scrambling to put on his clothes while muttering useless apologies. Anna and I stood there, feeling a mix of satisfaction and rage. We had them right where we wanted them, but this was just the beginning. "I can't believe you, Emily," I said, my voice trembling with anger. "After everything we've been through, this is how you repay me?" "John, please," she begged, her voice cracking. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean for this to happen." Anna, her phone still recording, turned to Mark. "And you spineless coward? How long has this been going on?" Mark couldn't meet her eyes. "A few months," he admitted quietly. "I am sorry, Anna." Anna's face hardened. "Sorry isn't going to cut it, Mark. We destroyed our marriage. You both have." I took a deep breath, trying to steady my emotions. "Here is what's going to happen," I said, addressing both of them. "You are going to leave this town. You are going to cut off all contact with us. And if either of you tries to contact us again, this video goes online. Understood?" Emily looked at me, her eyes wide with fear. "John, please, don't do this. We can work through this. I love you." I laughed bitterly. "You should have thought about that before you decided to sleep with him." Anna stepped forward, her voice icy. "We have enough evidence to ruin both of your lives, so you better listen to John. Pack your things and get out." Mark nodded slowly, defeated. "We all go," just don't ruin us. I turned to leave, feeling a strange mix of relief and sadness. This wasn't how I imagined my marriage ending, but it was the reality I had to face. Anna and I walked out of the motel room, leaving Emily and Mark to their shame and regret. We stood in the parking lot, the cool evening air helping to clear my head. Anna turned off the recording and put her phone away. "Well, that went better than I expected," she said, her voice softening. "Yeah," I replied, feeling exhausted. "Thanks for helping me with this, Anna. I don't know what I would have done without you." She gave me a small smile. "We are in this together, John. They messed with the wrong people." As we got into our cars, I realized that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in my life. It was time to rebuild and move forward, leaving the past behind. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of emotions. Emily moved out of our house, taking only a few belongings. We agreed to a quick, uncontested divorce to avoid any more drama. It was painful but necessary. Anna and I stayed in touch, supporting each other through the tough times. We became close friends, bonded by our shared experience. One night, over a couple of beers, she looked at me with a mischievous glint in her eye. "You know, John, we got our revenge. But I think it's time for something more," she said. "What do you mean?" I asked, curious. She smiled. "How about we show the world that we moved on and thrived despite their betrayal? Let us start living our best lives and make them regret losing us." I couldn't help but grin. "You know what, Anna? That sounds like a plan." Together we began to rebuild our lives, focusing on ourselves and our happiness. It wasn't easy, but with each other's support we found the strength to move forward. And as for Emily and Mark, they faded into the background, becoming nothing more than a painful memory. As the weeks turned into months, Anna and I kept in touch regularly. We'd grab coffee, go for hikes, and sometimes just hang out at each other's places, talking about everything but our exes. It felt good to have someone who understood what I was going through. We both focused on rebuilding our lives, determined to come out stronger on the other side. One evening, Anna called me with a plan. "John, you busy tonight?" "Not really." "What is up?" I replied, curious. "There's this new bar downtown. I thought we could check it out. No, have some fun for a change." I hesitated for a moment, still feeling a bit raw from everything that had happened, but then I realized I needed this. "Sure, why not? What time?" "Let's meet there at 8, she said, her voice sounding excited. When I arrived at the bar, Anna was already there, looking more relaxed and confident than I'd ever seen her. We grabbed a couple of drinks and found a table in the corner, away from the noise but still close enough to feel the energy of the place. "So, what's this all about?" I asked, taking a sip of my beer. Anna smiled. "It's about celebrating our new lives. We've both been through hell, but we are still standing. It's time to start enjoying life again." We spent the evening laughing, dancing, and talking about everything under the sun. For the first time in months, I felt genuinely happy. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. As the night wore on, we found ourselves back at our table, catching our breath from dancing. Anna leaned in, her eyes sparkling. "You know, John, I've been thinking we should do something big. Something that shows we are moving on and living our best lives." "Like what?" I asked, intrigued. "A trip. Somewhere we've always wanted to go but never had the chance," she said, her enthusiasm contagious. I thought about it for a moment. "You know what? Sounds amazing. Where do you want to go?" She grinned. "How about Italy? We could eat our weight in pasta, drink wine in vineyards, and just soak up the culture." I laughed. "Italy it is. Let us make it happen." We spent the next few weeks planning our trip, researching places to visit and things to do. It was a welcome distraction from the chaos of our past lives. Finally, the day arrived, and we boarded a plane bound for Rome. Italy was everything we hoped it would be and more. We explored ancient ruins, strolled through picturesque villages, and indulged in incredible food and wine. It felt like a dream, a perfect escape from reality. And somewhere along the way, something unexpected happened. Anna and I grew closer, our bond deepening into something more than friendship. One night, as we watched the sunset over the Tuscan hills, Anna turned to me, her expression serious. "John, I need to tell you something." I felt a flutter of anxiety. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "I think I am falling for you." Her words took me by surprise, but as I looked into her eyes, I realized I felt the same way. Anna, I think I'm falling for you, too. We kissed under the fading light, a new chapter beginning right there in the heart of Tuscan. It wasn't tea, what either of us had expected, but it felt right. We had found something beautiful in the aftermath of our heartbreak. Back home, life started to feel more normal again, but in a new, better way. Anna and I were taking things slow, enjoying each other as company, while still focusing on rebuilding our lives independently. It felt good to have someone who understood me so well and who had my back. One Saturday afternoon, I decided to finally tackle a project I had been putting off for months. I was cleaning out the attic when I stumbled upon an old box of photos. As I sifted through them, I found a picture of Emily and me from our honeymoon. My heart ached for a moment, but then I realized how far I had come since then. That evening, I invited Anna over for dinner. We sat on the porch, eating takeout and watching the sunset. I found some old photos today, I said, breaking the comfortable silence. Anna looked at me, her eyes filled with understanding. That must have been hard. It was, I admitted, but it also made me realize how much I've grown. I'm not that person anymore. I'm stronger now. She smiled, reaching out to squeeze my hand. We both are, and we have each other to thank for that. We sat there, holding hands and enjoying the moment. It was a simple, quiet evening, but it meant the world to me. A few weeks later, I received an unexpected call from my ex-wife, Emily. I hadn't spoken to her since the divorce was finalized. My initial reaction was to ignore it, but curiosity got the better of me. "John," she said when I answered, her voice hesitant. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I just wanted to apologize for everything." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "Emily, I appreciate that, but it doesn't change what happened." "I know," she replied, sounding defeated. "I just needed to tell you that I'm sorry and that I'm trying to move on with my life." "Good," I said. "We both need to move on." After hanging up, I felt a strange sense of closure. It wasn't tea forgiveness, but it was a step towards letting go of the past. Anna and I continued to build our new lives, supporting each other every step of the way. Our relationship grew stronger, and we started talking about the future more seriously. We discussed moving in together, traveling more, and even starting a family someday. One night, as we were sitting on the porch again, Anna turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "John, do you ever think about what you want to do next? Like what your dreams are now?" I smiled, considering her question. I used to think my dream was just to have a happy marriage and a stable life. But now I realize there's so much more I want to do. I want to travel, maybe start my own business and just keep growing as a person. Anna nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "I love that, and I want to be right there with you, supporting you every step of the way." We spent the rest of the evening talking about our dreams and plans, feeling more connected than ever. It was a new beginning for both of us, and we were ready to embrace whatever the future held. A few months later, we decided to take a big step and move in together. We found a cozy apartment in the heart of the city, filled with light and character. It was perfect for us. One evening, as we were unpacking boxes and setting up our new home, Anna found an old dusty book tucked away in one of her boxes. "What asked this?" she asked, opening it. Inside, we found pages filled with handwritten notes and sketches. It was a journal from her college days, filled with ideas and dreams she had long forgotten about. As we read through it together, we realized that many of those dreams were still within reach. "Let's make a pact," Anna said, her eyes sparkling. "Let's promise to always support each other as dreams no matter what." I smiled, feeling a surge of love for this incredible woman. Deal. With that promise, we started a new chapter of our lives. When filled with love, adventure, and endless possibilities, we were ready to face whatever came our way together. Living with Anna was a whole new adventure. We were constantly discovering new things about each other. Whether it was our different tastes in movies or our unique morning routines, it felt like we were building something special, something solid. One weekend, we decided to take a spontaneous road trip to the mountains. It was the kind of trip I'd always dreamed of taking with Emily, but never did. With Anna, everything just felt so natural and right. We packed a few essentials, hopped in the car, and hit the road. The drive was beautiful with winding roads and stunning vistas. We sang along to our favorite songs, stopping occasionally to take pictures or grab a bite to eat. By the time we reached our destination, a cozy cabin nestled in the woods, we were both in high spirits. The cabin was perfect rustic but comfortable, with a fireplace and a view of the mountains. We spent our days hiking and exploring the area, and our nights cuddled up by the fire, talking about everything and nothing. On our second night there, as we sat by the fire, Anna turned to me with a serious look in her eyes. "John, there's just something I need to tell you." I felt a pang of anxiety. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "I have been offered a job in another city. It is an amazing opportunity, but it means I'd have to move." My heart sank. "When did this happen?" "Last week," she said. "I didn't want to tell you right away because I didn't want to ruin our trip." I looked into her eyes, seeing the conflict and uncertainty there. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know," she admitted. "I love you, John. I don't want to leave you, but this job could be a game changer for my career." I took her hands in mine, feeling the weight of the decision we had to make. "We'll figure it out, Anna. We always do." We spent the rest of the trip enjoying our time together, but the impending decision hung over us like a cloud. When we got back home, we had some serious conversations about our future. We talked about long-distance relationships, about moving together, and about what we both wanted out of life. In the end, we decided to give the long-distance thing a try. Anna moved to the new city, and we promised to visit each other as often as we could. It wasn't easy, but we were determined to make it work. The first few months were tough. We missed each other terribly, and the phone calls and video chats weren't enough to bridge the distance. But we found ways to cope. We sent each other care packages, made surprise visits, and found new ways to stay connected. One weekend, I decided to surprise Anna with a visit. I booked a flight and showed up at her apartment unannounced. The look of joy and surprise on her face when she opened the door made all the effort worth it. "John!" she exclaimed, throwing her arms around me. "What are you doing here?" "I missed you," I said, hugging her tightly. "I couldn't wait another week to see you." We spent the weekend exploring her new city, trying out new restaurants, and just enjoying each other's company. It felt like a mini vacation, a break from the stress of our long-distance relationship. On our last night together, we had dinner at a rooftop restaurant with a stunning view of the city skyline. As we sat there watching the sunset, I realized how much I loved this woman and how much I wanted to be with her. "Anna," I said, taking her hand, "I don't want to do this long-distance thing anymore. I want to be with you every day." She looked at me, her eyes filled with emotion. "What are you saying, John?" "I'm saying I want to move here to be with you," I said. "I'll find a job, we'll find a place together, and we'll make this work." Tears welled up in her eyes as she smiled. "John, are you sure? This is a big decision. I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I said. "I love you, Anna. I want to build a life with you." She leaned in and kissed me, her tears mixing with mine. "I love you too, John. Let's do this." A few months later, I moved to her city, and we found a beautiful apartment together. It wasn't easy, but we made it work. We were building a new life together, one filled with love, adventure, and endless possibilities. Moving to a new city and starting fresh with Anna was one of the best decisions I ever made. We found a charming apartment in a vibrant neighborhood, and it didn't take long for us to make it feel like home. Every weekend, we'd explore new cafes, parks, and hidden gems around the city. It felt like an adventure, and we were in it together. One Saturday morning, while we were having coffee at our favorite spot, Anna looked up from her book with a thoughtful expression. "John, I've been thinking a lot about our future." I set my mug down, intrigued. "What about our future? I know we talked about taking things slow, but I can't help thinking about what comes next for us," she said, her eyes searching mine. "Do you ever think about getting married again? Maybe starting a family?" Her question took me by surprise. I hadn't thought about marriage since my divorce, but with Anna, everything felt different. "Honestly, I haven't thought much about it, I admit it, but with you I can see it. I can see us having a future together." Anna's face lit up with a smile. "I feel the same way. I love the life we are building together, and I want to keep building it." We spent the rest of the morning talking about our dreams and plans. It felt good to have these conversations, to dream about what our future might look like. A few months later, on a sunny spring afternoon, I decided it was time to take the next step. I had been planning it for weeks, carefully choosing the perfect ring and thinking of the best way to propose. I wanted it to be special, something Anna would always remember. We had planned a picnic in the park, a simple yet romantic setting. As we spread out the blanket and unpacked the food, I felt my heart pounding in my chest. I had the ring hidden in my pocket, waiting for the right moment. After we finished eating, we lay back on the blanket, enjoying the warm sun and the sounds of the park around us. I turned to Anna, my heart racing. "There is something I need to ask you." She looked at me, her eyes curious. "What is it?" I sat up, taking her hands in mine. "Anna, these past few years with you have been the best of my life. You've brought so much joy and love into my world, and I can imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears as she smiled, nodding. "Yes, John, of course, I'll marry you." I pulled out the ring and slipped it onto her finger, feeling a wave of relief and happiness wash over me. We kissed, and it felt like the start of a beautiful new chapter in our lives. The next few months were a whirlwind of wedding planning and excitement. Our friends and family were thrilled for us, and we couldn't wait to start this new journey together. We decided on a small, intimate ceremony with our closest loved ones, followed by a big celebration with all our friends. The day of our wedding arrived, and it was everything we had hoped for and more. The weather was perfect, and the setting was beautiful. As I stood at the altar waiting for Anna, I felt a sense of peace and happiness that I had never known before. When Anna walked down the aisle looking stunning in her dress, I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with love and gratitude. This was the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and I couldn't wait to start our future together. Our vows were heartfelt and emotional, filled with promises of love, support, and adventure. When we exchanged rings and kissed for the first time as husband and wife, I knew that we had found something truly special. The reception was a joyous celebration of our love. We danced, laughed, and celebrated with our friends and family late into the night. It was the perfect start to our new life together. As we settled into married life, we continued to build on the foundation we had created. We supported each other's dreams, tackled challenges together, and celebrated every milestone, big or small. Our love grew stronger with each passing day, and we knew that we could face anything as long as we had each other. A year after our wedding, we decided to start trying for a family. It wasn't long before we found out that Anna was pregnant. The news filled us with joy and excitement, and we couldn't wait to meet our little one. The pregnancy brought its own set of challenges, but we faced them together, supporting each other every step of the way. When our baby girl Lily was born, it felt like our family was complete. Holding her in my arms for the first time, I knew that everything we had been through had led us to this moment. As we looked down at our daughter, I felt a sense of peace and happiness that I had never known before. We had come a long way from the pain and heartbreak of the past, and now we were building a beautiful future together. When we returned home, we decided to take things slow, letting our relationship grow naturally. We still had our individual lives to rebuild, but now we had each other for support, and that made all the difference. The days and nights blurred together as we adjusted to life with a newborn. Life was a rare luxury, and we both walked around in a constant state of exhaustion, but it was worth every moment. Lily brought so much joy into our lives, and we cherished every smile, every coo, and every little milestone. Anna and I grew even closer as we navigated the challenges of parenthood together. We took turns with late-night feedings, changed countless diapers, and marveled at every tiny new thing Lily did. Our bond strengthened, and I realized how lucky I was to have found someone who was not only an amazing partner, but also an incredible mother. One evening, after putting Lily to bed, Anna and I sat on the couch, enjoying a rare moment of quiet. "Can you believe she is already 3 months old?" Anna said, leaning her head on my shoulder. "I know," I replied, wrapping my arm around her. "It feels like just yesterday we were bringing her home from the hospital." Anna sighed contentedly. "I'm so grateful for our little family. It hasn't always been easy, but I wouldn't trade it for anything." I kissed the top of her head. Neither would I. As the months passed, we settled into a comfortable routine. Lily grew into a happy, curious toddler, and we reveled in every new stage of her development. We took her on trips to the park, read her bedtime stories, and watched as she took her first wobbly steps. Each day brought new adventures and new memories. One weekend, we decided to take a family trip to the beach. It was Lily S.'s first time seeing the ocean, and we were excited to share the experience with her. We spent the day building sandcastles, splashing in the waves, and collecting seashells. Lily S.'s laughter was infectious, and I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of happiness and contentment. As the sun began to set, we sat together on a blanket, watching the sky turn shades of pink and orange. Lily was nestled between us, her eyes wide with wonder at the sight of the colorful sky. "Moments like this make everything worthwhile," Anna said softly, her hand resting on mine. I nodded, feeling a swell of emotion. I couldn't agree more. We continued to build our life together, supporting each other through the ups and downs. We celebrated anniversaries, birthdays, and holidays, creating new traditions and strengthening our bond. Our love grew deeper, and our family flourished. One evening, as we were putting Lily to bed, Anna turned to me with a mischievous smile. "John, I have some news." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh? What is it?" She took my hand, placing it gently on her stomach. "We are going to have another baby." My heart skipped a beat as I looked into her eyes, seeing the joy and excitement there. "Are you serious?" Anna nodded, tears of happiness welling up in her eyes. "Yes, I found out today." I pulled her into a tight embrace, feeling overwhelmed with love and gratitude. "I can't believe it. This is amazing." We shared the news with our families and friends, and the months that followed were filled with anticipation and preparation for the arrival of our second child. Lily was excited to be a big sister, and we involved her in every step of the process, from picking out baby clothes to setting up the nursery. When our son Ethan was born, our hearts expanded with even more love. Holding him in my arms, I felt the same overwhelming sense of joy and fulfillment I had felt with Lily. Our family was growing, and it felt like our lives were complete. As we navigated the challenges of raising two children, Anna and I continued to support each other, finding strength in our partnership. We faced sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and the chaos of toddler tantrums. But we did it together, knowing that we were building something beautiful. Years passed, and our children grew. Lily and Ethan filled our home with laughter, love, and countless cherished memories. Anna and I remained committed to each other and to our family, always striving to create a loving and supportive environment for our children. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching Lily and Ethan play in the yard, Anna turned to me with a smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We have, and I wouldn't change a thing." Anna took my hand, her eyes shining with love. "Here's to many more years of happiness and adventure." I squeezed her hand, my heart full. "Here's to us." The years continued to pass, and our family grew closer with each passing day. Lily and Ethan were thriving, filling our home with their boundless energy and curiosity. Anna and I found a perfect rhythm, balancing work, parenting, and our relationship. Life was busy, but it was beautiful. One summer, we decided to take a family trip to a cabin in the mountains. It was the same place Anna and I had visited early in our relationship, and we wanted to share the magic of that place with our children. The cabin was nestled in a lush forest, with a crystal-clear lake nearby. It was the perfect place to unplug from the world and spend quality time together. We spent our days hiking, swimming, and exploring the wilderness. In the evenings, we sat around the campfire, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. Watching Lily and Ethan S. faces light up with wonder and excitement reminded me of how far we had come as a family. One night, as the kids were sound to sleep in their bunk beds, Anna and I sat by the fire and joined the tranquility of the night. The stars were scattered across the sky, and the crackling of the fire provided a soothing backdrop. "This place brings back so many memories," Anna said, leaning against me. I nodded, wrapping my arm around her. "It does. It feels like a lifetime ago." Anna smiled. "We've built a beautiful life together, John. I'm so grateful for everything we've been through, even the tough times. They brought us here." I kissed her forehead. I wouldn't have traded any of it. We are stronger because of it. We sat in comfortable silence, soaking in the moment. It was one of those rare times when everything felt perfect, and we were fully present, appreciating the journey that had brought us to this point. Back home, life returned to its usual hustle and bustle. The kids were growing up fast, and each day brought new challenges and joys. Anna and I continued to nurture our relationship, making time for date nights and little gestures that kept the romance alive. One weekend, as we were cleaning out the garage, I found an old box of keepsakes from my first marriage. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to go through it. There were photos, letters, and mementos from a different time, a different life. Anna noticed me sorting through the box and came over. "What's that?" "Just some old stuff from my past," I said, holding up a photo of Emily and me. Anna sat down beside me, looking at the photo. "Do you ever think about her?" "Sometimes," I admitted. "It's hard not to. She was a big part of my life for a long time." Anna nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I think it is normal to have those memories. They're part of who you are." I looked at her, grateful for her understanding. "You are right, but I'm glad that part of my life is behind me. I am happier now than I ever thought I could be." She smiled, leaning in to kiss me. "Me too." As we continued to sort through the box, I found a letter from Emily. I hadn't read it since our divorce. Curious, I opened it and started to read. It was an apology letter, much like the one she had sent me after our divorce was finalized. She expressed regret for what had happened and wished me happiness in my new life. Reading her words, I felt a strange sense of closure. I had moved on, but seeing her acknowledge her mistakes and wish me well helped me finally let go of any lingering resentment. I shared the letter with Anna, who read it quietly. When she finished, she looked at me with a soft smile. "It seems like she's trying to make amends in her own way." "Yeah," I said, feeling a sense of peace. "And I think it is time I let go of any remaining bitterness. Life is too short to hold on to the past." Anna hugged me, her warmth and love enveloping me. "I am proud of you, John. You've come a long way." We finished going through the box, keeping a few mementos and discarding the rest. It felt like a symbolic act of moving forward, of embracing the future with an open heart. The years continued to pass, and our children grew into remarkable young adults. Lily became an artist, her creativity and passion shining through in everything she did. Ethan excelled in science, always curious and eager to learn about the world around him. Watching them pursue their dreams filled us with pride and joy. Anna and I grew older together, our love deepening with each passing year. We traveled, explored new hobbies, and cherished every moment spent with our family. We celebrated milestones, supported each other through challenges, and remained each other's rock. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Anna turned to me with a contented smile. "Do you remember our first trip to the mountains?" I laughed. How could I forget? It was the start of everything. She nodded, her eyes reflecting the fading light. "We've come a long way since then." I took her hand, feeling the strength of our bond. "We have, and I'm grateful for every step of the journey." We sat there in silence, watching the sky change colors. It was a moment of pure contentment, a reminder of how far we had come and how much we had built together. As the stars began to twinkle in the sky, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together. Our love had weathered storms, and it would continue to shine brightly, guiding us through whatever lay ahead. As the years continued to unfold, Anna and I found ourselves in a comfortable rhythm, a partnership that only grew stronger with time. We had built a beautiful life together filled with love, laughter, and countless cherished memories. Our children, Lily and Ethan, were thriving, and we couldn't have been prouder of the people they were becoming. One summer, with the kids off to college and our home feeling quieter than usual, Anna and I decided it was time for another adventure. We planned a trip to Europe, a long-awaited dream that we were finally making a reality. It was a chance to explore new places, immerse ourselves in different cultures, and rekindle the sense of adventure that had brought us together in the first place. Our journey began in Paris, where we strolled along the Seine, visited art museums, and indulged in the city-esque culinary delights. The romance of Paris was infectious, and we found ourselves falling in love all over again. One evening, as we dined at a quaint little bistro, Anna reached across the table and took my hand. "This trip has been amazing," she said, her eyes sparkling with joy. "I am so glad we were doing this." I smiled, squeezing her hand. "Me too, it's been perfect." From Paris, we traveled to the rolling hills of Tuscany, where we stayed in a charming villa surrounded by vineyards. We spent our days exploring the countryside, visiting local wineries, and enjoying the simple pleasures of Italian life. One afternoon, as we sat on the terrace, sipping wine and gazing at the stunning landscape, Anna turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "John, do you ever think about what comes next for us?" she asked. I looked at her curious. "What do you mean?" "Well, the kids are off to college and we have more time on our hands now. I've been thinking about what we want to do with this new chapter of our lives," she explained. I nodded, understanding what she meant. "I've been thinking about that too. There are so many possibilities. We could travel more, maybe start some new projects, or even think about retiring somewhere peaceful." Anna smiled. "I like the sound of that, but most importantly, I want us to keep growing together, to keep finding new ways to make each other happy." I leaned in and kissed her. "I want that too, Anna. Whatever the future holds, I know we'll make it wonderful." After Tuscany, we continued our journey through Europe, visiting cities like Rome, Barcelona, and Vienna. Each place brought new experiences and adventures, and we savored every moment. It was a trip filled with laughter, discovery, and a deep sense of connection. When we returned home, we felt rejuvenated and inspired. We started discussing new projects like renovating the house, taking up new hobbies, and planning future trips. Our love for each other continued to grow, and we were excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. One evening, as we were settling back into our routine, Anna came to me with a surprising suggestion. "John, I've been thinking about something." "What is it?" I asked, intrigued. "I know it sounds crazy, but what if we bought a small bed and breakfast? We've always loved hosting friends and family, and it could be a fun project for us," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. I considered her idea, feeling a spark of excitement myself, that not crazy at all. "In fact, it sounds amazing. Let us do it." We began researching and planning, and within a few months we found the perfect property, a charming old house nestled in the countryside, with enough space to accommodate guests and create a warm, welcoming atmosphere. We named it Anna S. Haven, and it quickly became our passion project. Running the bed and breakfast brought new challenges and rewards. We poured our hearts into every detail, from the cozy rooms to the delicious breakfasts we served. We met wonderful people from all over the world, and each guest brought new stories and experiences that enriched our lives. Lily and Ethan often visited, bringing their friends and sharing in our excitement. It became a family endeavor, a place where we all felt connected and fulfilled. Our children were proud of what we had created, and they loved seeing us so happy and engaged in something we loved. As the years passed, Anna S. Haven flourished. We celebrated milestones and anniversaries, each one a testament to our journey and the love we had built together. Our bond remained unbreakable, and we continued to support and cherish each other through every challenge and triumph. One evening, as we sat on the porch of our beloved bed and breakfast, watching the sun set over the hills, Anna turned to me with a contented smile. "John, this life we've built together is more than I ever dreamed of." I took her hand, feeling the same deep sense of gratitude. "I feel the same way, Anna. We've come so far, and I wouldn't change a thing." We sat there in silence, savoring the beauty of the moment and the love that had brought us here. It was a love that had weathered storms, celebrated victories, and grown stronger with each passing day. And as we looked out at the horizon, we knew that whatever the future held, we would face it together, hand in hand. Life at Anna S. Haven was a dream come true. The bed and breakfast brought us closer to each other and to the people who visited us. Each guest left a mark on our hearts, and we cherished the community we were building. One summer evening, as we were preparing dinner for our guests, the doorbell rang. Anna wiped her hands on a towel and went to answer it. I continued setting the table, arranging fresh flowers in a vase. Moments later, Anna called out, "John, there's someone here to see you." I walked to the door, curious about who it could be. Standing there was a familiar face, one I hadn't seen in years, Emily. She looked nervous, her eyes darting around as if unsure whether she should be here. "Emily," I said, surprised, "what brings you here?" She gave me a tentative smile. "Hi, John, I'm sorry to show up unannounced. I was in the area and I wanted to see how you were doing." Anna, ever the gracious host, stepped aside to let Emily in. "Please come in. Can I get you something to drink?" Emily shook her head. No, thank you. I wanted to take up much of your time. I just needed to talk to John. Anna glanced at me, and I nodded, indicating it was okay. She gave my hand a reassuring squeeze before leaving us alone in the sitting room. I motioned for Emily to sit down. What awes on your mind? She took a deep breath, clearly gathering her thoughts. I've thought about reaching out to you for a long time. After everything that happened, I needed to make amends. I know I've apologized before, but I wanted to do it in person. I nodded, understanding the weight of her words. I appreciate that, Emily. It took a long time, but I've moved on. We both have. She looked around, taking in the warmth and charm of Anna S. Haven. This place is beautiful. You and Anna have created something really special. Thank you. It's been a labor of love, I replied. Emily S. Eyes met mine, and I could see the sincerity in them. John, I am truly sorry for everything. I hurt you in ways I can even begin to imagine. I know I can't undo the past, but I hope if you found happiness. I have, I said, my voice steady. Anna and I are very happy. We've built a wonderful life together. She smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes. I'm glad to hear that. You deserve all the happiness in the world. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of our shared history hanging in the air. Finally, Emily stood up. I should go. Thank you for seeing me, John. I walked her to the door, feeling a sense of closure. Take care, Emily. I hope you find peace. As she left, I watched her walk away, knowing that chapter of my life was finally behind me. I turned back to the kitchen where Anna was finishing up dinner preparations. Everything okay? She asked, her eyes filled with concern. I nodded, pulling her into a hug. Yeah, just needed to close a chapter. Anna kissed me softly. I'm proud of you, John. You've come so far. We went back to our routine, serving dinner to our guests and enjoying the lively conversations that filled the dining room. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Anna and I sat on the porch reflecting on the day. Do you ever think about the past? Anna asked, her head resting on my shoulder. Sometimes, I admitted, but not in a longing way, more like a reminder of how far we've come. She smiled. I feel the same way. We've built a beautiful life together, John, and there's so much more ahead of us. I kissed her forehead, feeling a deep sense of contentment. I couldn't agree more. The years continued to pass, filled with love, laughter, and countless adventures. We expanded Anna S. Haven, adding more rooms and hosting special events. Our children, Lily and Ethan, graduated from college and began their own journeys, making us proud every step of the way. One winter, we decided to host a holiday reunion at Anna S. Haven, inviting friends and family from all over. The house was filled with warmth and joy, the perfect setting for celebrating the season. As we gathered around the fireplace on Christmas Eve, surrounded by the people we loved, Anna took my hand and whispered, This is what it is all about, John. Family, love, and the memories we create. I squeezed her hand, my heart full. I couldn't ask for anything more. That night, as we lay in bed, I thought about the incredible journey we had been on. From the heartbreak of my first marriage to the love and happiness I found with Anna, life had come full circle. We had faced challenges, celebrated triumphs, and built a life that was more than I ever dreamed it could be. And as I held Anna close, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together, hand in hand, just as we always had.